after practice, everybody would leave to go home. And I always had to sit on the bench and wait on my mother because she worked at Wendy's. And so when my mother would show up in the park, it would be about 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. So I'm sitting there, and when my mother would pull up, she drove an old Buick Regal, hubcaps off the car, seats torn up, the car was all beat up. And she would pull up in the park 10:30 at night. I would jump off the bench, I would sprint over to my mother, I would say, Mom, if you don't mind, can you please sit back in your car and turn on your car lights? I have to do some extra drills, I have to go to the NFL, so you would never have to work another day in your life. And I knew my mother was tired. And every night, my mother would sit back in that car, and those car lights would hit that field, and he had a 7-year-old kid doing backpedaling drills, running sprints, running laps, chasing his dream to go to the NFL. But just beyond those car lights, I could always connect with my mother's eyes, so it made me dig a little bit deeper. It made me push myself a little bit further. It made me work a little bit harder. It created a certain level of sweat equity in what I was doing. It created a certain level of pride in what I was doing. You know why people quit? People don't have pride in what they do. You know why people stop? They're selfish, and it's just about them. But when you have a bigger purpose to why you're doing what you're doing, and you want to honor the sacrifices that others have made for you, it's nothing for you to keep going when you hit adversity. If every decision and choice you make is just about you, at a certain point you're going to hit something that's a lot tougher than you, and it's going to make you quit because you don't have a driving force for why you do what you do.
Welcome back to the Staley in English show. It's your man, Coach English again. I'm with Coach Staley and Coach Kurtz. Fellas, how'd the week treat you this week?
All is well. The week was great. My Redskins won a really big game against the Raiders. We got another tough one coming up against Kansas City. So everything was great.
Week was good. Shout out to AC Florida baseball team, Coach Hallett, and them getting their rings last night at the ring ceremony, state champs.
We also have another special guest on the show today, Coach Ryan Norris. He's been coaching in the Columbia and Midlands area for a long time. He's very thoroughly immersed in the AAU circuit also. So we'd like to welcome him to the show.
What's happening, man? Glad to be here with y'all guys.
Glad to have you.
Yes, sir.
Today everybody knows what's going on. It's been, if you have the ESPN app, your phone has been binging since Tuesday? Every second, bing, bing, bing. So this person arrested, that person arrested. So that's our topic of the day. We also posted it on each of our Twitters. You can look at that inside of our link down at the bottom in the description. Send us your comments and anything else on the topic that you want to after we're done. Some of you will probably be tweeting at us during the recording, so we're going to get it started, man. So where are we going to start at, fella? I mean, it's all over the place.
Like
man.
you said, ultimately we're talking about the scandal that occurred within the last week concerning a major shoe company, college coaches, ultimately some financial advisors, right? Financial advisors,
yes.
Execs, and it's starting to trickle down now. And that's why we wanted Coach Norris to come on the show, because I feel he's a specialist in it. He's someone I admire, someone I have a lot of respect for. I watch him coach. He does a great job. And he's actually on this circuit. And I want to give him an opportunity to just give us a rundown of what's going on.
As many of you probably have seen, it's been about how many coaches? 4?
Yep,
4 coaches have gotten caught in
4 so far.
One Adidas, the head man over basketball at Adidas, which he got caught up. You also have several agents, financial advisors, and things of that nature, as well. The agents and advisors they're paying the coaches off to get kids to come to their school, and later on, once they become pros, if they become pros, which is a big question.
Right.
They want them to sign and be advised by them so they can ultimately make money when that day comes.
Yeah, and it's always going to be a sticky situation because it's so many people involved. One, you're dealing with children. They don't quite know, and then and ultimately when you deal with someone's child, the parents are going to get involved. So you have this whole element of a multi-billion-dollar system, and it's almost like everyone wants a piece of the pie. What are some of your thoughts of what's going on, Michael?
Well, here's the really sad thing is, 2 weeks ago we talked about role models as coaches.
Sure did.
And now here it is, all this scandal coming out. We even talked about some of the coaches that have been named in this scandal. And now 2 weeks later this comes out. And what's crazy is, I mean, everybody has always known that these shoe companies are paying kids. Colleges are probably paying kids to play for them. And that's a whole nother factor, whereas should college athletes get paid or not, because these universities are making a ton of money off of them. But now with this scandal coming out, some of these assistant coaches are taking money from financial advisors and steering and telling these kids, you need to start going with this financial advisor as soon as you make it. And these assistant coaches, I don't think a lot of them even know much about this financial advisor or anything, but they're just steering this kid, saying, hey, let this guy handle your money when you turn pro, just because this guy's throwing the assistant coach 15, 20 grand. And that's even going further above and beyond than the shoe companies paying the kids and the colleges paying the kid. Now this is these guys who these kids trust are saying, hey, go trust all the money you're going to make as a pro with this financial advisor. No idea if this guy is a good dude or not, but he's giving me 15, 20 grand to tell you that. So that's the sad part. That's even sadder than what's been going on for the last 15, 20, 30 years.
Well, I mean, on that fact, like, my thing is, this is nothing new. We're talking about something. This isn't new. It's just news right now. You know what I'm saying? This is something that we've all known is going on from the time kids are 6 and 7 years old. We got these guys around that latch on to the kid. Oh man, he's really good. I think that if I can get him, and stick with him through this process, you know, on the back end, I can get whatever it is for me. I don't know. People who follow me on Twitter, I posted a tweet the other day. I said the credit goes to the kids and the parents, no one else. You know what I'm saying? The kid is the one that has to get in the gym. The parent has to be the one that go out here and drive them to and from practice and feed them every night and this, that, and the third. So at the end of the day, these other advisors, as you put it, Micah, come around now. Now this kid is huge and he has a following his freshman, sophomore year, and now all of a sudden these people are coming out the woodwork. Oh man, you need to come over here. You need to come over here. Put your arm around them. You know, they got guys who they won't let your kid live. Like, they will not leave their side for fear of somebody else coming in and getting a piece of the pie. They will literally sit there and make sure that nobody comes around. Like, it's like,
so Ryan, what do you see? What do you see? You're out there. You're on the circuit. You're with a very legitimate, upstanding program. What do you see?
As far as college coach wise, I never been in deal with agent or anything like that. Never seen any of that stuff go down. But college coaches usually, when they come to you about recruiting a kid, first thing they're gonna ask, they typicals, grades, what's he like, and then they'll go on get deeper in the conversation. They ask about family, and then they say, well, what do they need? Do they need anything? So I think that's how that gets started with the money and all that, and then you can go forward with the advisors or whoever the agent, where they want to push them to go, giving the coach money and whatever that may be.
Yeah, and we're trying our best not to name names, but I mean we talked about Rick Pitino on the last show about role models, and right now he's on administrative leave without pay. His lawyer has even gone far enough to say that he has been fired of what was going on. And the last article that came out, Rick Pitino is still saying that he didn't know anything about it. Everyone sitting at this table understands what goes on. This is a $1 billion industry. College sports, it's a lot of money involved. And it's almost to the point now where they're throwing the word scandal around so much. But how hard will it be to avoid this scandal when there's so much money involved, but everyone feels like they want a piece? You know, it's hard to be like, well, I don't want my piece, and I'm the reason why this kid signed this $27 million deal with y'all. You know, so it's hard, and I understand that. And then it's based off the American dream. everybody wants their piece of the pie. Let's grow. Let's make ourselves wealthy. Let's give my kids an opportunity to make it, have a better life than me. So I think this scandal, it's going to be something that's always around in college sports if we aren't careful. Which, Micah, can we kind of talk about like who's involved? Like who were some of the coaches that were brought about and so forth?
Yeah, well, without going and naming names of coaches that were involved, but I mean, I think everybody plays a role in this scenario. It's the kids and their parents. I mean, if the colleges they didn't have to pay to get the kid, or if the parents weren't saying, hey, we want $50,000, we want $100,000 or to go to their school. The college aren't going to. They're not going to pay it if they're not asking for it. But they know they got to pay it to get that player, and that's one of the best players involved. So I mean, obviously the parent and the kids, they're a part of it, and then the college coaches that decide the programs that decide to pay these kids, they play a role in it. The NCAA plays a huge role in it, whereas not paying kids to play when they're making millions on top of millions off of these kids, when not letting them, guys like number one players in the country, and not giving them the option that they would be the top 5 pick in the draft right out of high school, not allowing them that option. The NCAA plays a role in that as well.
The NBA, I mean, that comes down from the NBA working in conjunction with the NCAA. And I kind of, and me and Josh had this discussion before the show, I kind of fall on the opposite side of that argument when you're talking about kids being paid. It's a small percentage of those kids that actually go pro. Okay? Small percentage. And there is no, the numbers are there. I should have pulled them up, but I didn't. It's a small percentage of kids that play college sports, period, actually go on to play professional.
It's less than 2%.
Yeah, so that being what it is, I think these kids are getting paid. They're getting paid with a free education, which goes, I think, lost, period. Like some of these kids, they have an opportunity. You have some kids that could go straight from high school to the NBA, and they should have that opportunity. I don't think that opportunity should have been taken from them. Exactly. But there are some kids. There are some kids that will never touch an NBA.
I agree, 100%.
So they're getting paid. They're getting paid. I talk about him all the time. He gets he gets a scholarship, then he gets a refund check per semester, and then they give him money per month in his hand while having free room and board. Give me that today.
100%.
I'll take that today without
100%.
Student loans. Right now, give me that right now. And I just feel like, yes, the NCAA is making their money, and there could be some things they could to tweak what's happening there. But at the same time, I don't think it's that far unbalanced where a kid who has an opportunity to provide for his family, if you're that good, your money gonna come. You know what I'm saying?
But why wait? I agree 100% with you. Like 95% of the kids that are playing college basketball are getting a great deal, and they're getting a free education, and they're getting that refund check. But there's also 5%
that's going to go
that could go straight out of high school.
See, but then now,
why deny them that opportunity?
Yeah, well, no, I'm not saying deny them the opportunity to go pro. I'm saying I'm in agreement with you in the sense of, hey, if you can go pro, go pro. Okay, like going to take. There's a kid right now here in South Carolina that he has no business going to somebody college. Yeah. And we already
unless he goes to Georgetown. We would love to have him.
Why does it always come down to one of your teams?
Yeah, I didn't even know you were a Georgetown basketball fan.
I'm a Georgetown.
He's everything
Warriors
DC.
fan,
so anything DC is
except Florida State.
Right.
Except Florida State. I'm a Georgetown fan.
Yeah, but shout out to Springfield, South Carolina, though. But I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, like it just always
I was
comes
the
back
Warriors.
to you and that.
But like, here's the thing. I agree. Micah said millions on top of millions are being made. And some of the announcers that make the point where we should pay college players are sitting behind a desk working for a major TV corporation. So they're getting paid.
That's another contract.
That's so time. Right. TV contracts. You're right, Coach Norris. TV contracts are unreal. But here's where my hold up is. I guess I'm a little sensitive about this. You go to the league, go to the league. If that kid is good enough to go to the league, go to the league. They do it in baseball, they do it in tennis, they do it in golf. Football and basketball, they don't really do it. I understand football because the physicality of it is unreal. A kid fresh out of high school would get murdered in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay? But I don't like the element, and it's only like this because you're not allowing those guys to go straight to the NBA.
Exactly.
I don't like the element of devaluing an education.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially for minorities, when you're talking about trying to close culture gaps, achievement gaps. If a kid has an opportunity to go to school for free, they have to do that and value that opportunity to learn. They do get a cost of attendance check. They do get free room and board. And at the bigger institutions, they still do get a refund check. Yeah. Now, whether it's not as much parity when you start getting to the smaller schools, the smaller D1s, because they simply can't afford to give that. Yeah. Some of them can't even afford to give the same amount of scholarships at the D1 level if you really know how scholarships work. Mm-hmm. You know, so I do understand both sides, but I do not want parents, especially if you think your kid is kind of good and they think they got a chance to make it. Don't devalue the opportunity of knowledge, because it might not be a college degree, but knowledge is important. That's why you have guys like LeBron James who has not wasted money, but then you have other NBA players and NFL players who are flat out broke after contracts because they devalue the opportunity of knowledge. Okay? Knowledge is power, as cliche as it may sound. So I do feel if those babies are good enough to go to the league, go. I make a joke. I make a joke about my sons. Heck, if they're good enough at the middle school, we out. You know, we out. So because college was
shout out to talent.
The purpose of college is to make money. You don't go to college to stay there forever. The purpose of college is to make money. Yeah. So if you can do it, do it. So it's both ways. To
kind of piggyback on that, because like I said, that's the argument Max Kellerman was making on First Take was the way to get rid of all of this is just to pay the college athlete. Okay, well let's look at it from a bunch of different directions. Okay, well, am I going to pay? Let's say LeBron James was to go to college. Am I going to pay LeBron James the same amount of money as I pay another kid? But then you can't. Now we get into this kid being paid this much.
That's why I'm sensitive about it.
You shouldn't pay the college athlete. And it should be, and it's always been talked about. And baseball does it, and I have no idea why basketball can't do it. But like, you should be able to go straight out of high school to the NBA. Or if you do go to college, you have to stay. You cannot be eligible for the draft for 3 years.
Yeah.
Why can they not do that? Yeah. So now the LeBron James, they're not going to college. But now maybe if it's not a number one player in the country, he's foregoing college and going to the draft. So maybe those big name guys are not playing college basketball. But now they're going to college and they're going to the University of South Carolina, to North Carolina, in these schools, and staying there for 3 years, and now their fan base is getting to know them and following them, and now they can get more of a sense of team. And instead of Duke and North Carolina having all these one and dones, where you have a Kentucky, you have a brand new team every year. I don't understand why this cannot be done in basketball.
See, well, here's the thing make sense as well, because now, shoot, what am I really teaching this kid? This kid ain't coming to school to go to class. He ain't going to nobody's class. Whose class? He might go.
They're going to class.
What?
Those one and done.
Those one and done.
They have to go to class.
They're going to class their first semester.
Yeah.
After their first semester, they're not going.
That's what I'm saying. Like
because they're declaring themselves eligible in March.
They're going to make it to the second semester.
So they're going for one semester. So they're not even one and done. They're half and done.
I mean, but at that level, like literally, like if I was not as close to a situation as I am, I would know that half the stuff that they do for the athlete, like legitimately, he walks to his locker and everything he's supposed to have done is there. Sometimes papers be written already. Like it's not. And there was a kid years ago that ended up from a school here going to Syracuse. They said they had to have somebody go to his room and wake him up and take him to class every morning. Because I mean
that right there though happened before he got to Syracuse, boss. Because if you plant those seeds the correct way and fertilize them thoroughly, that child is going to know what he's supposed to do.
It starts early.
You know, it starts early.
And then that goes back to
which gets into this though, and I want Coach Norris to hit me what you think early. You know, well, who's at fault?
Ooh,
great question.
All of this going on, whose fault is it? You know,
I was reading an article, I think maybe Wednesday. It was about the NCAA. That's who I'm blaming. I'm blaming the NCAA and probably those agents and runners.
Okay.
Which the agents and runners, they're allowed to do that. They're allowed to go on campus and talk to the kids and coaches, build a relationship for they can have their business going forward if they're able to turn pro. You might not go to the NBA. You might be playing overseas. They still might want you to be up under them.
Right.
But I blame the NCAA, I say agents and runners, and also shoe companies. I don't know if you guys know this, but shoe companies and the NCAA basically work hand in hand. Just like we was talking about those TV contracts.
Oh yeah.
They have contracts also with the shoe companies.
That's why I wanted you here.
They also have those with the shoe companies. And NCAA making billions and billions of dollars. So if I'm a shoe company, I'm the director, and let's say I'm over I'm at Adidas, and you got Louisville. I'm paying them for 10 years. I'm giving them $160 million. I think that's their deal.
Right.
So why wouldn't I tell my director of the head of basketball, you know, we want this kid. Let's find a way to get him there so we can get him in our apparel. And that, like y'all say, build his fan base. Now you got people buying Louisville Adidas apparel. And then later on, he's going to sign with us eventually if he's a pro in the NBA. And then we can push the shoes out, and we're making money. That's ultimately what they want.
And that's exactly what happened in this, where that player that signed with Louisville, him and his family was demanding $100,000 or asking for $100,000. Louisville was ready to pay it. They were having trouble figuring out how to funnel that money, and they said, this coach at Louisville, not naming his name, nobody swings a bigger stick at Adidas than this coach. All he has to do is make a call to Adidas, and we can get this $100,000. And it happened. That's exactly what happened.
And so I like that, Ron, because you just threw me for a loop. The NCAA is working close with the shoe companies, but the NCAA never makes themselves seem like they're affiliated like that. Yeah. And then, but if you really think about it, NCAA, the people that work within the NCAA have beautiful paychecks. Okay, but you're saying your belief is keeping the sanctity of the amateur sport safe. Well, when you're dealing with amateurs, most of the time it's not lucrative paychecks. But everybody involved, the college coaches, for the D1 coaches, the ones that are really, really involved in this, they have unbelievable salaries and unbelievable contracts.
And they also make money from the shoe companies also.
Right.
So.
And I don't want to beat the student athlete down so much, because it can get a little hard out there. It can get tough. And the people that you're playing for are reaping all the benefits. Not to knock the weight of that free education. That's why I say I'm not torn. I'm kind of torn, but I'm not really torn, because I do believe in taking advantage of that free education, because at the end of the day, those 3, 4 years, 5 years, however long you're there, you're getting that back, living a better lifestyle than what you had going into it with the education. So I do agree. I do think I'm going to do a very emphatic everyone is at fault.
I was going there with you. That was going to be my statement.
And when I say everyone, I'm even including myself as a high school coach, because it's a chain. I know one of the first shows we did, we talked about how everything has to be a circle. Yeah. Like, I love the element of travel team. I love that element. You know, that's why I have a relationship with guys like Ryan and them and Kurt Willer and those great guys like Ty White, like dudes that are really, really good in the business, because I understand that element. I can't do it all as a high school coach, but as a high school coach, it is very important for me to talk to my parents. And I do this. Look, watch out for this. Watch out for the runners. Exactly. Watch out for the sneak agents, because that will make your child ineligible very fast and give them a reputation that you don't want. I will even give a testimony without calling names. I've been in a situation where they came to me with what you need. what you want, coach? And when they saw I wasn't standing for that, because I'm trying to raise morally sound kids,
They probably didn't show back up to your gym.
they didn't show back up, and they started to pull the kid away from me.
Yeah.
Like they pulled the kid away from me to the point where the conversations with the kid became very generic. Like, hey man, what you trying to do? Man, I'm just trying to do this. So it became like the person started treating me like a stranger almost. And I knew it wasn't the kid. I knew it was the adults around him. And and to this day, I have no ill feeling.
That's who was at fault.
I have no animosity, but I think it's everybody. The high school coaches has to communicate well. The college coaches have to make sure they're doing it for the right reasons also. The NCAA has to be transparent. And the NCAA, honestly, you have to go back and rewrite a whole lot of rules, because the world we live in is totally different from when the rules were
But
written.
they're not going to rewrite those rules, like he said. I mean, they're in bed with the apparel companies. They're drenched in that, and then some of that money is coming from that benefits them. You know, everybody is at fault. If a kid is asking for $100,000, every person in his circle is at fault. Because I was listening to
if a parent is even comfortable enough to be like, yeah, we'll take the $100,000, it's too far gone at that point. Yeah. That's dangerous.
I was listening to the Greenberg show, and he said that there's something that the kids are the victims in this, and that's what the FBI is pretty much saying. The kids are the victims, and his point was, well, shoot, if a kid is asking for the money, the college didn't say they would give it. They didn't come to him saying, hey, we want this money. The kid is asking for the money. How is he a victim?
Yeah, if they say, hey, I want to go to your school for free, the college is going to say, no, we're giving you $100,000.
So the kids owe a problem.
What makes the kids the victims? What makes the kids the victims is
they
are victims in this scandal where there's this extra twist with not these financial advisors and stuff going straight up to the kids and the families and saying, hey, here's $100,000. Take this money, and then when you go pro, you sign with me. They're not doing it that way. They're going an extra slimier way, and it's going to the assistant coaches who the kids already have a relationship with and saying, hey, here's $50,000. You give the kid $25,000. You keep $25,000 for yourself and steer this kid to me. Where now it's a little bit slimier, where now this kid has a relationship with his assistant coach. What his assistant coach tells him, he's going to trust.
Yeah.
And really, the ulterior motive why this coach is telling him it is because he's getting paid. So that's an extra. That's what makes this story different than what we've all known has been going on forever. Is now it's just an extra layer of shadiness.
I mean, article I was reading on Sports Illustrated, they were like, I looked up grassroots and just kind of, they said it was, EYBL created it as a way, Nike created the EYBL as a way for the kids to put the shoes on those kids' feet, so that once because it's only for the elite kids, so these are that percentage of people that have an opportunity to go pro. So when they get there, they've already been in that system of wearing a particular brand from high school on, and then a good portion of the time the kid ends up going to a Nike sponsored college or Adidas or Under Armour, whatever apparel, and so when that happens, then they end up making the money on the back end because the kid now signs with them because it's what they've done their entire time. And personally, I don't believe that that's why grassroots basketball was invented in the first place. I think that it was a place for your kid to help with their recruitment, of course. I think that it was a way for your kids to continue to play year-round because it gave them an opportunity. Because before EYBL and all of that, I mean, kids were playing summer ball. I remember, I didn't know anything about it, EYBL, when I was in high school.
I think the diamond or the jewel of the shoe company grassroots system is the fact that it gives basically an overwhelming majority of the elite athletes the opportunity to play on a big stage.
Yeah,
because
I agree. I mean,
but what I'm telling you is, and the reason why I don't want to see the shoe company element go away, because a lot of these kids can't afford to get on that platform. It allows that athlete from that household who just doesn't have it to still be able to get the same opportunity as a kid in a situation like a Steph Curry, who dad played in the NBA. Because, you know, Ryan, you see it all the time. When you're on the circuit, you see pro kids, you see kids whose parents you would never have an idea of who they are. Mm-hmm. So the shoe company does provide that. And I am not mad at the shoe company for promoting their brand. Do that. That's how you stay abreast. That's what you're supposed to do. But where the problem comes in, and I said this a while ago, the shoe companies have to do a much better job of policing who they enable to promote their brand. True. That's when it gets greasy. But we need this. It's needed. It has to. These babies want to be seen because if again, I always bring up my sons. If them dudes ain't good enough to play for a sponsored team, I'm not spending all my vacation money traveling the road. They got to get in the gym. They got to work. And thank you, Nike. Thank you, Under Armour. Shout out to Under Armour. Thank you, Adidas, for the opportunity. And like Micah said, Coach Kurtz said the other day, like, they're teaching these kids to want to live an NBA lifestyle, like these greasy guys, before they even earn it. And you gotta be like Kung Fu Kenny. Be humble. Sit down. Like, wait for your opportunity. But most people aren't humble enough to eat that pie and just wait for their chance. So how can this be fixed? How are we going to fix it? Like, what can be done?
I think I don't know if there is a fix. I don't even think there's a fix for it, because I mean, it's so deep entrenched into it. Like, even if you kick over every rock, clean out house, this, that, and the third, outside of doing background checks on people, that ain't even going to clear. Because I mean, shoot, if you got hundreds of thousands of dollars in and out of an area of a person's hands, if they wasn't like that before, it starts to get tempting. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's a legitimate fix, like to say, okay, we can do this, we can do that. I've heard a number of different ways. I've heard pay the athletes coming in. I've heard get rid of this, or turn around and pay them here, or figure out a way. You know, it's just so many other ways that people are trying to figure it out. Just figure out a way to clean up what you already got. You may have to get the people out that's in. Let this thing run its course. Here's what I think. Let this thing run its course. Let the investigations happen. Let who they pick up. The companies rehire people. They do some interior investigating themselves into their books, making sure to come clean with everything that they possibly can come clean. That they find themselves. Be proactive. Clean house, and then start it back up. You already have something. You already have a brand. Like, you already have something that's built. All right, so it doesn't make any sense to tear it down and just go tuck your tail and run. Because like you said, Josh, like, I agree with you in the sense of, shoot, they give them an opportunity to play on a stage that they might not necessarily have an opportunity to play on, because they don't have the funds or the means to do so. So there, I agree with you. So it makes no sense to tear the model down. But you can clean it up. It's like your house. It gets dirty. So what you going to do? Are you going to just leave it dirty?
Get a wife so they can clean it. I'm just
ladies.
I'm playing, ladies. I am playing.
Yeah,
what you got, Ron? What's your fix, man? What do you think?
I'm like Coach English. I really don't see a fix.
Yeah, it's no fix.
Gotta let it run its course.
It's a virus, huh?
Yeah. I was told a long time ago from my dad that agents basically run AAU basketball. And I seen it firsthand, because right. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm sharing with everybody. But I was blessed to play with John Wall, Ryan Kelly. I played with those guys on the AAU circuit. So, and I didn't know till maybe 2 years I was into college that my team was coached by an agent. Didn't know that.
Right.
So I kind of seen it firsthand, and the more that I work with it, I've been in the AAU game for 5 years now, and I see that this team is ran by this agent, this team is ran by this agent. Kids even, I've heard some instances of kids even getting money to come to a certain company to play for that team. So I really don't know the fix for it. I couldn't even tell you, but I think we have to let it run its course. The FBI is going to do a great job, as we know, investigating. and chips will fall. You'll see some. I'm hearing that you'll see some of the bigger name coaches going to fall too.
Yeah.
And just don't think it's Adidas.
No,
Nike's coming.
Oh yeah.
And Under Armour's coming.
Yeah, it's some stuff. Michael, what do you think, bro?
I mean, I agree with both Coach Norris and Coach English. Obviously, it's a major problem, and there's no quick fix at all. I think at the grassroots level, at the AAU level, at the high school level, I mean, that's a very, very, very difficult fix. I think one way, but I do truly believe that the college game, I mean, they need to get rid of the one and dones, and it needs to be kids can go straight to pro, or if they do go to college, they need to stay for 3 years. And so now if a kid is saying, hey, you want me to go to school here, you need to pay me $100,000, the school says, if you want $100,000, you need to just go pro.
And I'm being honest,
I would hope that it would work that way. I don't know if it would. Obviously, I'm saying that it's a lot more simpler than really it's going to happen, but I think that is one fix, but
I actually
the
like
NCAA
that idea.
is making a ton of money off these kids, and it's going to be tough for the NCAA to
See, but
say.
I like that
hey, let's
idea
do
though.
this.
That idea still gives them a star or two at a time. Because I mean, if you think you're big and bad enough to go and make that bread, go shoot, go and excuse me, and shoot for those that come. You got to stay to 3 years.
And why can't you?
I like
put
2
your
years better than 3, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that's how baseball is. I mean,
Well,
whatever.
I think-
If you do,
I-
but why can you not not hire an agent and test the waters and put your name in the draft? And if you do not get drafted,
Then you
now
then
go
you
to
have that
school.
opportunity
Now
to
you
go to school. See, but then
Why do you have to give up your eligibility and hire an agent just to enter the draft? That doesn't make sense to me either.
Well, that doesn't make sense. I think, but then coming back, I think you'd end up with too many kids doing that and then coming back and not recruit because now recruitment
That hurts your
gets
recruitment, yeah.
recruitment.
Well, we are already seeing kids sign in July, August,
Right.
and then going in. I mean, it's
I would
crazy.
rather do that in the kid because at the end of the day, it's so tender. The kid is the tender, even though some of them know what the flip they're doing, and just as greasy as some of the adults because they're taught that. But the kid is the victim, because at the end of the day,
They are
the
kids.
kid from Louisville is suspended.
Yeah.
His college career he's facing virtually. It might be over. Now, hopefully he can be talented enough to fight through all this. But here's my fix. I'm a dreamer. So I think there's a fix. Okay. Here's my quick little breakdown. Parents get informed. High school coaches work closely with your parents and inform them, communicate, have those very tough, uncomfortable conversations. Pardon me. Parents get informed. Allow your kid to grow. My wife made an unbelievable point. We're people of God in this household. We try to live right, and she's like, God doesn't give you all your blessings at one time because you wouldn't be able to handle them. You would probably die from excitement.
Yeah.
Allow that kid to receive their blessings throughout the process. They don't have to get that bag in the beginning. Like Coach English said, if they're good enough to get that bag, they're going to get it. Allow the process to occur. Be strict on your kids. Watch your kids.
I got a question for you, Coach. So how would you tell, like you say, work closely with the parent and tell them, these are steps you need to take. You don't need to take no money. But how would you tell a single mom or maybe has 3 or 4 kids and that kid, she has one kid that's very talented, got agents calling her, shoe companies, this coach, that coach calling her. How would you handle that situation?
I mean, this is America, and it's hard as hell out here, and it's still a choice at the end of the day. The choice is this. All right, do my kid go to college? We fight off the temptation, and it works out for us. Hell, get the $2 million insurance in your knees that Raymond Felton and those guys had when they went to North Carolina. If it doesn't work out, that still puts you in a better place. But I do think the which gets into, I think the moral element outweighs that quick fix. Like, and I'm gonna try to finish because Brian
took the words right out of my mouth.
It was hard. Like, so you allow your kids to grow, because the financial gain will come. And then college coaches, get back to your roots. Because at one point, this AAU and travel team wasn't as heavy as it was, and you had to have intimate conversations with these high school coaches. A lot of college coaches have gotten away from that because it's easier to talk to that quick fix guy, that AAU coach. I've had a kid in the car, and a certain coach from a major Power 5 university called and offered that kid, and I had not had one conversation with that coach. I like, this kid could be walking around school smacking people. You don't care how they are. So college coaches, get back to your roots, establish sound. You don't have to know where the school is, like the history of the school, but your roots need to be based out of the educational system. And then last but not least, the shoe companies that we really appreciate what you're doing for the kids. Incorporate a moral compass in what you do. You have the right to promote your brand, but at the end of the day, don't rape these kids of every moral ounce that they have by working with these greasy people, by allowing these runners to get up in their face because you're giving them the power to do so with your large checkbooks. Don't do that to them. I'm not saying if you do these things, it would fix it, but I do think, I'm a dreamer. I do think it would help. I think it'll get it on the right path. And I will say this, it's always a little scarier when the FBI and the IRS get involved. I seen the toughest dudes. Yeah, I seen the toughest dudes get shaken down, and they're going to tell. I don't like the kids like say, "Oh, don't be a snitch," and all the rappers say, "Stop snitching." Them same rappers y'all be talking about that don't snitch. Oh, they snitch because nobody wants to do fair time.
50 years.
Nobody wants to do it. So I do think it's going to be shaped because right now some AAU coach to know they didn't do it the right way. Some college coach know they didn't do it the right way is looking to the left, hoping that man don't tell on them. Mm-hmm. Why put yourself in that situation? It's not even worth it. It's not even worth losing those nights, especially when you've already been blessed with a good situation. But Ryan, that was an unbelievable point you made. It's hard for that parent. It's hard. But I will say this. If you're at that point where they can start offering you the fix, you're close.
Yeah.
Well, and I think also what you're saying there goes back to who's at fault a little bit. Because now, if somebody came to me and about Edison, not Mir, because Mir's probably not going to be an athlete. But Edison, if somebody came to me about Edison,
Mir wants to take out his daddy.
Oh, Josh with the shots. Okay, so you good. What am I teaching my son at that point? If I take that money, at that point, I tell him, hey man, we're gonna take the money and go to that school. I'm not teaching him. He learns nothing in that, and I think that the mom, you've struggled this long. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell Chris all the time. I said the finish line is almost there. The finish line is almost there. If it's a point where they are talking about you to that point, the finish line is right there. Just keep grinding. You're almost there. And if a kid is good enough to take that money right now, all he has to do is play 1 year, and he can go and get that money the following year. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that bothers me about. When we're talking about who's the fault, the whole situation, it's a little bit of everybody. It's a little bit of everybody. And I like what you're saying there. And I think that kind of goes along with what, the three of us said, where, shoot, after it runs its course and all of that, then we incorporate that stuff. And now we have a better situation going down the pipe. Because
I work with, our director always tell, even if a coach calls me, I get a couple calls.
Yeah.
I tell him what he want to hear, and I say, well, you need to follow up with his high school coach. High school coach is always around him, sees what he does every day, knows what he does in the classroom. So he can give you a better gauge on the kid than I can. I'm only with him, let's say, 4 months out the year, and we're not together there every day.
Right.
It's every weekend.
4 weekends every weekend out of 4 months.
But what did I say at the beginning of the show, Ryan? You work with an upstanding program. Y'all been taking, and I appreciate you. I ain't buttering you up because you're sitting over there, brother. Y'all been taking care of my kids for a long time since I've gotten back on the boys' side. Multiple kids, am I wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Multiple kids. Y'all been taking care of multiple kids. Those guys sign, they go to school, and their mamas and daddies ain't got to pay. Y'all do it the right way. Kurt does an unbelievable job, and he always emails me and texts me and keep me abreast of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? He does a great job. So y'all do it the right way. And I think it's an overwhelming majority of more people doing it right. But like we said,
Oh, yeah.
But that small negative gets the news. And I tweeted not too long ago, we got to stop giving these negative people the loudest mouthpieces. We got to stop doing that. And
that's key. I mean, but
it's tough.
Negativity sells. Negativity sells.
I mean,
people like to see people lose. People like to see people not do well. So that's what sells in the media.
That's what the media is all about.
Well, I mean, because if it was positive, it isn't news.
Nah.
You know, my grandmother used to say, "You don't get credit for stuff you're supposed to do."
Well, it's all about what you promote. I want to feel good. I don't even watch the news because I want to feel good. At the end
Coach Staley before the show was talking about how he's trying to eat healthy.
Right. I'm getting attacked because I want to eat broccoli and some bag of chips.
Why are you eating healthy?
He ain't really eating healthy, man.
No, you see, here you go again. I'm actually eating healthy.
He's drinking light apple juice. I think that's about the extent of it. Light apple juice.
12 pounds. I'm doing no sugar during the week, but here's the thing. Here's my greasy comment for the week. You know, outside of that, Coach English is a Giants fan. That's why he's miserable.
Oh,
misery loves.
Yeah.
Shout
Okay.
out to the Bills.
Shout out to the Redskins. Coach Norris is a Raiders fan, and we waxed that tail a little bit. So
see, it always goes back.
Nah, here's my greasy comment. Here's my greasy comment to this brother that just signed the largest
I was going to shout him out too.
NBA history. Shout out to Russell Westbrook for being a god doggone new old school trailblazer, if that makes any sense to you. He stuck with his team. He got a big payoff, and I respect that. But here's Russ. I don't know if you're ever going to hear this, Russ. If y'all know Russ, tag him, retweet him. Russ, if you need a hype man, if you need somebody if you ever feeling down and you 2 for 8 from the field, I will be that guy, Russ. You can't do no wrong. And I work for a simple fee every month, Russ. I'll be there for you. Personal coach. Keep shooting it, Russ. You ain't got to pass it to him, Russ. That was your rebound, Russ. So whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, man. But we're going to go ahead and bring this show to a close, man. Shout out.
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, shout out to everybody for the retweets, the shares. Coach Harlan, Ryan Lell, our trainer, all of my Facebook family, Coach Reggie Murray, who be sharing all the time, Coach Smith. A lot of people give us shares, man. We really, really appreciate that. Al Troy, man, thank you for sharing it all the time. We really appreciate it. And we will be getting back to you soon. Hopefully we can have Coach Norris on the show again. I think he did a phenomenal job.
Oh, yeah, great job.
Really, really enjoyed him. He coaches with the Upward Stars travel team. He's an assistant coach on one of the, like my oldest son said, perennial programs in the state of South Carolina, Keenan High School. His dad, Zach Norris, does an unbelievable job.
Yeah, definitely.
So we really, really appreciate him being here. They do it the right way. They run an unbelievable program. So thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, want to give a shout out to Brandon Pearson, kind of like the show's advisor. He's kind of been advising us through this poll process and this podcast, so I just want to give him a shout out. And shout out to Daniel Middleton for sharing all the time. He always hits me up and says, "Hey, bro, good job, good show, enjoy listening." Other than that, Coach Ryan Norris, anything you want to say?
I'm going to give a shout out to God first. That's what my mom
Yes,
always
sir.
told me to
Amen,
do.
boy.
She always taught me to do that.
Amen.
Oh yeah.
Shout out my family, my wife, my son. Shout
Hey,
out Upward
newlywed
Stars.
over there, boy. Newlywed.
Shout out to Upward Stars. Kurt takes care of me.
We also going to have the email for the Upper Stars in the description of the show, so you can hit them up if you're interested in your kid possibly playing or having an opportunity to find out when their workouts are.
And definitely a shout out to Keenan, my dad, showing me the ropes.
Coach Kurtz.
You got to set it off. Shout out to God. See you next week. Can't be God, baby.
Hey, once again, it's the Staley and English Show. You want to be a part of the conversation? Go ahead and email us at the Staley and English Show. That's AND at the Staley and English Show at gmail.com. You could also hit us up on Twitter. All of that will be in the description. Hey, like on iTunes, like it. Put us through the reviews. Comment, share on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all mediums. Once again, it's the Staley and English Show, and we out of here. Peace.
Yeah.
in the summer heading into my junior year. I still remember the day where I was sitting in our film room and I was watching film on the California Bears. My defensive backs coach, Larry Slade, came in the room. He said, Inky, I got some good news for you. I dropped the clicker. I said, what is it? He said, man, you're a projected top 30 draft pick, son. He said, all you have to do is play the next 10 football games. You're an automatic multimillionaire. I went out of the room. I called my mother and my grandmother on the three-way. I said, after this season, there will be no more struggle. I said, we would never miss another meal. I said, we would never experience another Christmas where we have to stand on the side of the curb and just be grateful. And I hung it up. First football game, I went out and played great, got an interception, shut Cal down. Second game, we playing against Air Force, got late in the game, fourth quarter, guy dropped back, he threw the ball to a receiver coming out my sideline. Me and the guy, we went head on. As soon as I hit the guy, I felt as if every breath of my body left. Body went completely limp, fell to the ground, I blacked out. Never happened to me before. When my eyes opened, I'll never forget, my teammates ran over, they said, Ink, get up, let's go. I said, I can't. I said, I can't move. He said, what do you mean you can't move? You're our lockdown corner, man, we need you, let's go. I said, I know, man, but this time I can't move. I flipped my head up to the sky, I said, God, I said, surely nothing has happened in this moment that can alter my life. They got me over to the hospital, they took me back, they ran CAT scans, they brought me back into my room, and all in a 15-second time frame, the doctor came running in from the opposite side. He said, hey, get in there, we got to rush this guy back to emergency surgery, he's about to die. I said, what? He said, son, you have busted up subclavian artery in your chest, you're bleeding internally, we have to rush you back, take the main vein out of your left leg, plug it into your chest in order to save your life. When I opened my eyes from recovery, the same doctor was over me. He said, son, has some good news and some bad news for you. I said, you got some bad news for me? I had to tell him I was about to die. I'm still alive. How bad can it get? I'm still here. He said, the good news is we saved your life. I said, thank you, sir. He said, the bad news is, Ink, you have nerve damage in your right shoulder. I said, okay, cool. He said, but son, it's a strong possibility that you probably can never play the game of football again in your life. I said, no way. I said, no disrespect to you, Doc, but I've been working for this ever since I was 7 years old. I said, no disrespect to you, Doc, but you wasn't in the park with me and my mother when I was 7 years old and she was sitting in that Buick she got done working at Wendy's. No disrespect to you, Doc, but you didn't come up in that two-bedroom home, 14 people sleeping on the floor. No disrespect to you, Doc, but you didn't miss those meals and stay focused and never made an excuse. I never cheated. I never cheated. Like my conscience still until this day won't let me, like I can't cheat. I can't look myself in the mirror and say, Ink, you did a good job knowing that I cheated. I can't cheat. One of the greatest pieces of advice that my mother gave me was this: son, whenever you start, you make sure you finish it. And the problem with the world today, people get involved with things, and if they don't like a certain person, if they don't like the process, if it's not what they thought it was, they quit. And what they don't understand about quitting becomes a habit that doesn't just affect you. Later on in life, when you get a wife and you get some kids or you get a family, it's going to come back to hunt you, and it will one day affect them. That is why I tell you the process is more important than the product. It's not even about the outcome for me. It's about, can you take pride in what you do as an individual, and every night when you look in the mirror, knowing that you gave everything you had to it. And we have to get to the point where we're willing to impose our will on certain things. Impose your will on it. My life totally changed. And they gave me an opportunity to stop. And most people, when you give them an opportunity to stop while they're chasing something, they take advantage of it because they feel as if, man, why did this have to happen to me? I felt as if, why not me? This is the perfect opportunity to use this to be a blessing to somebody else. And you know what? It's not even about me to be truthful. It's not even about me now. It's about repaying the people that invested in me and saw something in me when I couldn't see it in myself. At a certain point in life, it can't just be about you. And the moment that we understand that, and every day we wake up, we understand that life is a blessing and life is a gift. And if you were to check out today, how would you want to be remembered? It's bigger than you.